Hello, everyone. My name is Angie Peacock. I'm a psychiatric drug withdrawal consultant and a healing coach. And I like to bring you conversations with people that either inspire me or bring you new information or talk about anything on the subject of deprescribing, harm reduction, recovery from psychiatric drugs, from diagnoses, all the things. If you are watching from Facebook, please do me a huge favor and just like our page. I think like 10% of people that watch actually like the page. Please do that. If you're watching from YouTube later, please subscribe. That helps the algorithm show this to more people. I don't like it, but that's how the world works now. Okay, so today I am bringing you a person who I am inspired by. Her name is, I hope I say this right. Hold on. Ewa? No, Eva.
Eva
Eva. I can't say it. You say it. It's too early in the morning.
Cihelska
Elska
Mulbauer.
Mulbauer. Okay, got it. All right. So she has a quite a harrowing story of coming off Cymbalta. So we're going to get started with that. But she's from Poland originally. She has a degree in nuclear medicine technology with an associate's degree in applied science. She has a husband named Eric and a daughter named Chloe. And she's going to share her story about reclaiming the sovereignty over her body, mind, and spirit. Welcome. Can you just give an introduction to yourself really quick?
Oh, you did very well,
Is that
Angie.
enough?
Thank you. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
having me here, and thank you for everything you have been doing. Before even you went coaching, you had your channel, and that's where I found you when you were still in the throes of the process, a very painful process. And so I thank you for that. And I'm very happy to be here and tell my story because I think it is time to give back.
Wow, I love that. A
It
lot of
is
people
time to
leave.
give.
A lot of people leave our community and people wonder like, where did they all go? And it's like, well, you start living life and you kind
Yes,
of forget, right?
you absolutely you start living the life, and it's almost like it's mesmerizing because it's so different, the process changes you. But for me, I knew that I'm gonna write my story, and I didn't know how this is gonna unfold, but it's unfolding in its own way. And I want to give it back to withdrawal community, but I also want to give it back to people, and the people that I am part of, which is Polish people. We do not have information like that in Poland. There's very little, and so they need information. They have a right to alternative sources of information from us, patients who know what happens when you take the drug for 20 years. We are the experiment. We are the rats, human rats,
Yes. Yes.
but we can talk and we can tell our story.
Yes.
So,
So thank you for being the first time. I'm honored that you're sharing your story with me for the first time. I love that. I love it. All right. So let's start with what led you to psychiatry, what led you to antidepressants, like what happened?
so I came to United States in 1997, and I was working in that dive bar, night shift, very unfriendly environment with people who were far more traumatized and sicker because you only had alcoholics and drug addicts there. And new language. I'm uprooted from my family, from my friends, and put here learning English, studying in the morning, going to work at nighttime. I simply burn out, and I missed my family. So I was low. I was low in mood. I had nobody to talk to even. So when somebody from my close, like from my family, actually suggested that I will go see a therapist, I said, great, because I really want to talk. I have nobody to talk to.
Right.
And shortly after I started seeing actually she was a social worker, but back then I didn't even know the difference. But well, very shortly after, maybe like within 6 months, I was coming to her, and she told me that I need to go on antidepressants, and it was the scream, not the whisper, but the scream inside of me. I am not crazy, no. And I said it because I was very vocal, and I told her, nope, I'm not crazy. I don't need any drugs. And she's like, Eva, you don't understand. It's not like you think. And she educated me into chemical imbalance, and It's science, right?
It made sense to you. Yeah, yeah.
And of course, she already knew my family history, which my mother did committed suicide. She told me that it's probably because they didn't have the right drugs.
Mhm.
And back then, of course, they didn't have those drugs that they had, antidepressants were the thing of 80s, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, I don't want to end up like her, right? Like my mom. I was not suicidal. I didn't have even clinical depression back
Mhm.
then.
Mhm.
But I did have the fear of it happened to my
Yeah,
mom.
of
And,
course.
now they have this drug. So she convinced me. I went to GP because that's where she sent me, general practitioner. After 15 minutes, I walk out with Prozac. And what Prozac did for me, because I'm not even going that into that story, I wrote, I became a zombie. A zombie. I slept walking. I'm driving. Sleeping whole night, and in the morning I'm going to work and I'm falling asleep behind the wheel. And Angie, I'm not thinking it's a drug. I'm thinking, Eva, you are really getting sick. Your therapist is right,
Yes,
but you
yes.
need to go into hospital now because something is really wrong with you.
Mhm.
And what did I did? I cut my wrist, not because I was suicidal, but because I want to get help. And I thought
Wow.
that in hospital, I would have a proper help. It's not going to be general practitioner, right? I'm
Mhm.
going to have a proper help.
Right.
So, but I know that they didn't believe me. Nobody believes you. Once you're in the system, you can tell them whatever, and they will make their own assessment of
Situation.
whatever
Yeah.
situation.
Right.
So, but that's what I did. The lady who I was roommating with at the time, she was like in her 50s, like a little bit older than I am right now.
Mhm.
She almost had a heart attack. She almost, I feel bad for this lady today because she was so petrified when she found me in the bathroom. And I had to call ambulance myself because she couldn't do it. And I,
Wow.
I
Wow.
gladly did because I'm like, yeah,
Wow.
I want to leave. I don't want to die. But
Yeah.
I was just so sick from Prozac.
Mhm.
So making this long story short, I end up in a hospital. They of course changed they
Beds.
changed the drug to what was the second one? I have it here on the Paxil. Paxil. And what Paxil did, either it did nothing or it activated me a little bit, where basically I was like, I'm alive,
I feel
like
better.
I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but that solidified in me the belief that I needed to be on drugs, right?
Mhm.
And basically I went on 20 years like that. So two times you have my drug history, but like I don't want to go over it right now, but I think it was like two times where I had a change of drugs because of poop out. How
Mhm.
scientific is that?
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
laughing right now because come on, do I need to give antidepressants to a toilet paper so they
Right.
can?
And usually what that means for people listening, it means like the drug stopped working. So now you got to go to the hospital and then you got to get
it,
changed. And
it's
then all of a sudden the new
tolerance.
medicine works. And it just hearing your story now, I just think of like there's this delicate spider web that is your brain and your nervous system. And they just go putting pills in there, like just poking holes in a spider web that's beautiful and perfect the way it is. But we kind of mess that up. And it's almost like you're patching a hole, but does it really work? Is that really a solution? I'm not convinced.
So, so I think it happened twice.
Mhm.
What that really is, it's a tolerance, which means that you already addicted to it. That's tolerance is equivalent of addiction.
Yeah.
So, but we don't know. And poop out was enough for me back then to stay on
Mhm.
the drug. The doctor who was far more educated than I told me that.
And
So
one more
I
thing.
had
So was that mean you only taken 3 antidepressants in 20 years total?
I was on 11
11
in
total.
total,
Different.
but that most of them happened in that when I went back, like when my process already began. So that
Yeah.
was actually later. Yeah.
Right.
So actually till 2018, I was on one, two, yeah, like three, because Prozac, it was only 1 month, like
Right.
after 1 month, I'm like, I'm a zombie, but I'm not thinking it's a drug. I'm thinking, Eva,
It's
you really
you.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so the changes, when they changed the drug, when the drug poop out, I was fine. And I had no reactions,
Mhm.
I could be a poster girl for antidepressants because I had basically the effects that this drug had on me for so many years was desired. That's what they want.
Yes.
Comfortably numb.
Yeah. Well, so you would say
Comfortably
that they worked for you. A
numb.
lot of people, I get
No,
they worked for you. Yeah,
yes,
they were working.
comfortably numb and docile and completely, like you're in your own bubble, because
Yes.
your empathy is cut out. You're not empathizing with other people as you would, like of
Hmm.
course I went to funerals, I never cry. And I thought to myself, look at you, Eva, how tough you becoming,
You're
you
so strong.
strong. No,
No.
so uh, I went to college. I graduated. I met my husband. I got married. All on drugs, being comfortably numb,
Mhm.
and I was pregnant on the drugs.
Mhm.
And that part was when the rage came out when I was in process. Being a mom and being lied about that, I was in a rage, and I
Say
got in
more.
touch.
What
I
were you
got
like?
in
Yeah.
touch with that part of myself that would kill to
Mm.
protect my own child.
Yeah.
But very quickly, Angie, I realized that it was not personal. Like, you know, it was not personal. I'm not, it's not about me. It's a system, and it's much more larger, and it's layered, and I'm insignificant, like
Right.
to anybody in it,
Yes.
So
Yes.
I let that go, of course. But so 2018, so twice I tried to stop with the doctor because this is important. 2 times. First time when I was about to get pregnant, and she told me, not such a good idea, but yeah, we can try. 2 months, I went to zero. And the moment I was on zero, I'm crying, and I'm having flu-like symptoms,
Hmm.
which why would I, right? But that's what it is.
Hmm.
And I don't know why I'm crying. I'm not suicidal. I haven't. This is just like like really because I didn't even went into withdrawal.
Hmm.
So when that happened, within 2 weeks, I'm back on drugs. Within 2 weeks, not even. And two
Wow.
weeks later, like nothing
Feel
ever
better.
happened.
Hmm.
Nothing ever happened. I go on with my life. I have a baby, and I'm happy. And so 2016 comes around, and again, I'm like, I want to, I want to, I want to off this drug. There's this inside longing for myself. I think we all had that. I was basically longing for myself.
Yes.
And so 2016 came, the same story with the doctor. 2 months, with 2 months taper.
Hmm.
I'm on zero, crying again. She
Did
told
you
me,
think your depression had come back, or like what did you think? Or I just can't tell.
she told me, and I'm thinking, yeah, it has to be that, right?
Yeah.
So even though I have nothing to be depressed about, because see, the thing is, Angie, I was for those 20 years, I was in two wards. My one leg was in the ward of psychiatry, and the other leg was in my own ward and understanding of myself, which was 20 years ago. I knew why I was feeling the way I did. I had a shitty job.
Yeah.
I missed my family. I missed my friends
Hmm.
that I could verbalize and connect on the deepest level with.
Right.
And I am internalizer. You know what that means?
Oh yeah.
I crave this connection with another
Hmm.
human being, but the real one, authentic
Right.
one. So, so basically, I knew why I had all those feelings that I did, the sadness, that I felt, everything. I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And this now, 2016, and I'm like, I have a husband and I have a beautiful child, I have, I'm actually doing what I want to do, which is being a mom. Like, that's my desire and I follow it. And that was the best that I could have done for my child and for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so why? There was no reason, so that was different. So always I was in two words, like one, like, because I had this understanding, my life is so different, I'm taking care of myself, I'm exercising, I'm eating well, I'm sleeping well, there's nothing outside, and yet the drug is gone and I'm like a mess. So within 2 weeks, I didn't even go into a withdrawal again, because it was really a nothing compared to later, right?
Later,
But
yeah.
I'm back on drugs and everything is fine and amnesia sits in. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by amnesia. Because actually, I wrote in my story, Angie, that I found antidepressants in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, first time I found surviving antidepressants was 2016.
Wow.
And I went on it. I did a little introduction and I said, I'm in withdrawal. My withdrawal is horrible. Angie, so let me finish on this. And I didn't even read anything on that web
Right.
page,
You just
nothing.
posted.
I just
Mm-hmm.
posted, nobody ever replied because I didn't ask any question.
Wow.
And as soon as, I was better fast, amnesia sets in and I forgot that I even ever was on that website. The second time I found surviving antidepressants was after my 8th electroshock and my brain was almost fried. And I got home and I'm like, I think it was the website that I was maybe once on, but I didn't even knew that I was logged on it,
Oh,
Angie.
wow.
And I forgot the name of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm really fried. I was really bad after the electroshock, so And I started searching and I found it, but I had no recollection that I was on it. And
Wow.
also, there is a level to everything, and that's what I want to touch on here. There is a level to joy and there is a level to suffering. And you can only know your own experience. So for me in 2016, it was horrible because that was the threshold that I ever came to.
Right.
But I had no idea that the dental health has levels.
Mm-hmm. It's true. So,
Yeah.
so take me, so it sounds like you were starting to wake up. You had this longing for yourself again. What made you realize, okay, I need to come off this drug. It's time. I need to do this differently.
So it was more than one thing, Angie, and I'm gonna try to tell you,
Mhm.
how it is more than one. So I applied for another like specialization in 2017. I was gonna go into dental hygiene because I knew that my career is gone. Like I'm not gonna be able to get into the nuclear medicine field after being gone for so long without having no experience. That I knew when I was making the decision to stay with my child, to actually me to be raising her instead of nannies. That was my decision. I knew that that's what will happen. And that was the best decision, that I ever made because I was the one for every first. I was with her, my child had no separation anxiety,
Yeah.
And so 2000 so I applied to this program, complete disaster. It was private and I thought back then that private meant better. No,
Yeah.
private means they wouldn't take your money. And the program was basically it was now no design to the program. Basically the books, read all the books, do all the exercises, and you have to do them. Doesn't matter if you already taken anatomy and physiology 2 times, because I did. Not because I actually love anatomy and physiology, but it expires after 5 years, right? So
Mhm.
that's why I had to take it, 2 times. But
Mhm.
anyway, so I signed off that program. I was like, mistake. This is not the mistake that I want to go in dental hygiene, but the program is disaster. I will find something else later on. But for now, look, it's time, Eva. It's time again, right?
Mhm.
Like it's time to get off these drugs, and it kind of happened simultaneously. Towards the end of 2017, my nephew was visiting from Poland.
Mhm.
And as he was going back, he gave me a little package of marijuana. And he's like, I cannot take it with me. And of course you can, right? You cannot take it on the plane.
Mhm.
And I have smoked maybe 4 times in my whole life.
Mhm.
One time that was before I was on antidepressants, and then there was 3 times when I was on it. I was never attracted to it, even the laughter and, like the munchies, I know it was funny, but I was like, yeah, it's the mind altering thing, and I was like, I'm not attracted to it. But so I wasn't searching for it, but it basically came to my home, as you can say, because he left it, and I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
So, he left in like October in 2017, and 2018 came. I turned in December 2017, I turned 44 years old.
Mhm.
And my mother committed suicide when she was 44 years old. All that year, I'm very aware of the fact
Yeah,
that
of
I'm
course.
turning her age. This
Yes.
is with me, like,
Yes, yes.
And so January 2018 comes towards the end, and I'm like, oh, my nephew left that, weed. Why not I try to smoke? So I smoke, but I smoke so little of it, Angie, like a puff,
Tiny
seriously,
bit.
one puff. And I go upstairs because it's the evening. I go upstairs, I lay down, and I have out of body
I
experience.
bet. I bet you did. From the marijuana, you mean?
See, I don't know if it
Oh.
was that's it. So I went upstairs. I'm having out of body experience. Next morning, I get up and I'm like, this thing goes, and it goes like this. Like basically, that's what I did. I put the pill in my hand and I said, that's it,
Wow.
garbage.
Yeah.
60 milligram of
Grams.
Cymbalta to 0. And I'm smoking every day, one puff,
Mhm.
going upstairs in my bed, and I'm having out of body experiences. I think it was simultaneously where basically I have a kundalini, but it's not awakening.
Yeah.
Like, I heard somebody saying that this kundalini energy should be titrated, that it's good to titrate it. You cannot titrate volcano.
Right.
No, the eruption of volcano cannot be controlled.
Wow.
And that's how it was with my kundalini.
Mhm.
It was intense. It was happening. It was not one time. It goes up. My brain is lighting up. I have a bright light and I pass out.
Wow.
And I have visions, of course, with it.
Mhm.
And so that goes on very strongly for 3 months. For 1 month is I'm like in a trance, and then it's starting to die out. So I have this, and then 2018 August, towards the end of August, I'm starting coming. I'm almost I'm here, like I have no euphoria anymore,
Mhm.
but I'm starting to have inner vibration.
Mhm.
The second part of withdrawal, really, it's
Yeah.
coming, and I don't know that it's coming because I don't know that it's the part of the process, right?
Right.
I don't know that my body is severely dependent on it,
Mhm.
severely. So I'm having this vibration. Also, I have this feeling you cannot escape that anymore. Like, not the feeling, it's like that
Yeah.
void, something
Yeah.
like that intuition. And I'm like, what is this? What? Escape what? And I'm like, and another, it's like, you haven't done what you came here for. And I'm like, what?
Yes.
What do you mean? Like, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I'm a wife, you know, I did college, you know, like, and I'm like, I'm pushing this, you know, and I those vibration, and it's almost like an atomic level, really. That's how, you know, this miscommunication between yourselves, pretty much, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm back to the doctor because I'm also having like, I always was aware during that process, during that 8 months, that I'm an altered, that I'm different, but I wasn't afraid of it. But now it's coming to me that I had the visions, like, and I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared of what happened. I'm very scared of what happened during those 8 months.
Yeah.
And so I go back to my doctor. She puts me on benzo for that anxiety. That it wasn't anxiety, it was withdrawal. And back on Cymbalta. And 2 weeks after I'm back on drug, the darkness sets in, and I'm gonna go next 9 months, every 2 months, change of antidepressants. The benzo stays the same, and I am descending. It's nihilistic darkness. The nihilism I felt was impenetrable, you know, and that's why I arrived in 2019 and the beginning of the year. So I'm getting worse. What else do they have? They don't know. I'm asking them question and they don't know. And all of a sudden it's starting to like becoming clear to me. Eva, they don't know. Who's supposed to know? You trusted them with your life and they don't know.
Right.
Your life, you are like have that and they don't know. And it's starting to dawn on me, you know, that so what do they have to offer? Electroshock therapy. And I'm dead. I'm already dead. Like, you know, I'm not doing any research about electroshock therapy, nothing. I'm just like, maybe it will kill me. And I kind of want that. No, I'm very suicidal by that time. Very suicidal, you know. So I'm like, okay. And after the 8 electroshock, I had 6 inpatient, 2 outpatients, and the 8th one, I'm walking, I put my clothes back on. I woke up, I don't know where I am. Seconds later, okay, I had electroshock. Then nurse comes, she's asking what year it is. And I had to think really hard, Angie, what year was this? What year was it? And I guessed, and I was right about that. But I'm like, you know how humiliating that is, not to know what year it is. And then she's asking who's the president, and I thought it was Obama, and I said Obama, and she's like, no, it's Trump, and I'm like, I'm fucked,
Right.
you know. So I put my clothes on. I'm walking towards the door, and I have this whisper, not the scream. Scream was 20 years before. Now it's the whisper. Eva, you have to find your own way out of here, out of the system. If you don't, there's no coming back. A few more treatments like that, and you're gonna be like a Jack Nicholson in the One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes. You know, Eva, that is one thing I find that is pretty consistent, that and that's kind of why I asked you that question that way, like what started your awakening? Because when I ask people, when they tell me their history and stuff, they will say, I just had this whisper. I just knew something was wrong. I knew I had to get off. Something's not right here. What is going on here? And even me, I had the same thing, but they kept telling me, no, that's your trauma. No, that's not your meds. No, keep going. You know, you need more therapy. And so that voice gets shoved down, and you just stop listening, and you can, you know, you think that they're the people that they know. But what I find is you can't ignore that forever. It will come knocking, and then you have to listen. However, once you're off, I've also noticed, and maybe you tell me what you think, but then it's led to lack of trust within myself, because it's like I'm
Absolutely.
still untangling that. Like, no, that voice
Absolutely,
is correct,
Angie.
and you can listen to it, and it's actually more right than the psychiatrist ever was.
Yes, absolutely, Angie. So absolutely. So I got home and I started to, and that was the second time I found surviving antidepressants, but I thought it's the first time because I'm really,
remember.
really,
Yeah.
I'm really bad at that
Right.
point, you know?
Mhm.
So anyway, and you know what, the realization very quickly set in for me that no one is gonna come save me. None. Nobody.
No.
This is the journey that I'm gonna have to do it on my own.
Mhm.
And also, as furious as I was towards my actually social worker who educated me into that, I also very quickly, and the psychiatrist, the last one that I had, and blah, blah, blah. Also, very quickly, I came to understand that this is not personal. This is not personal at all. So I started researching about, you know, who's approving the drug and how, and Angie, and I went into every rabbit hole because I was already in the big rabbit hole, and I was just, while there, I might as well, you know.
Yeah.
That was my calling, and that's what I did to stay alive. I had to find out. I said, I will find the truth. I will, and I will look it in the eye, and no matter how ugly it is.
Mhm.
And that's what I did. And part of my healing process was also acknowledging my mother's trauma, which I had no idea how severe it was, but it was. And that was the Kundalini, the eruption of Kundalini. That was my mother's trauma. Like, it was shown to me. And so, Angie, it is such a, you know, it is such a vast and multi-layer process. Because
Yes.
it was, you know, in the beginning, I desperately wanted to find out what happened that I end up here. And
Yes.
was it weed? Was it quitting antidepressants? Was my mother's trauma? Was it this? Was it that? And you know what? It was none of it. It was all of it.
Yeah.
You cannot separate our human experience like and put it in compartments. This is not connected. Everything is connected.
Connected. Yeah.
Everything is absolutely connected.
Yeah.
So I had to acknowledge that. Yes, I don't know what was the significant, like, no,
What was the
I
thing?
actually
It was
know
all
what
of
was,
it.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was all of it, but I knew for sure that coming off the drugs the way I did, and being on them for 20 years, that was the
straw that broke the camel's
setting,
back.
that was the
Yes.
setting the fire to atomic bomb, or that was a setting, you know, basically a nuclear reaction in motion. That's what it was. And
Yes.
so everything else was valid, you know, because smoking a bit of weed, it didn't made me, it didn't, I was not becoming, you know, an altered state, or, you know, because of it, but it helped. It had its significance, right?
Yes.
So everything, it was basically, like I said again, connected. And also, Angie, very quickly in the beginning, I was like, so 20 years ago, if I had what I had 20 years ago right now, I would be the happiest person. That's what I'm thinking, right? And I've heard so many people say that because it's true. Because it's true. It's so ironic, but it's true. And I had this scream inside of me, you know, and I ignore it. And I listened to a woman who didn't know anything about me. I listened to people from outside about myself.
Yes.
So now I'm sitting on this couch here downstairs, and I'm thinking, now I'm gonna trust myself. Now I'm gonna be only person who's gonna make the decision here.
Right.
I was my feelings for 20 years were altered, and I didn't know that because I didn't sign for that. My feelings are precious. I'm a human being. They are my guide.
Mhm.
My body is my vessel, and I'm gonna use this to get better. And I don't know how, I don't know how long, because Angie, you know how hard it is. Because
Oh yeah.
I've seen your journey. You know, you cannot fake that, because
No.
the energy, it's not the words, it's the energy that we try to convey. That's why you cannot fool me with anything, because I feel the energy, you know.
Right. Right.
So we going through this, right? And there is nobody from outside that will get that. And that was a second thing that I had to let go completely. Other people
Understanding.
believe me or understanding, or just giving me any kind of validation. I had to let that go completely. Very in the beginning of the process, I think it was 2019 or beginning of 2020, I had a phone call from somebody who is very close to me. It's a
Mhm.
close family member. And that person told me, and I'm telling you, it's a drug. I'm really sick. I cannot go back. I was 9 months on these drugs, and you know my story, right? It didn't work. It stopped working, because that's what it does. It's a
Right.
Russian roulette. It might not stop working for you ever, but it might, because it's a Russian roulette. Like
Right.
Mark Horowitz said in his interview yesterday that I just watched with Joseph Doring, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm telling this person, like this is you, and he's like, he's mad, and he hangs up on me. And but before he hangs up the phone on me, he says, "If you are so fucking smart, then heal yourself. If you are smarter than the doctors." And I was crushed. But the second
That's the
few
truth.
seconds, but this few seconds later, I'm like, would I believe him? Would I believe him? Just be honest with yourself, Eva. Would you believe him? No. Okay, here's your answer.
Hmm.
If you didn't go through this process, would you believe another human being? No.
I would not have believed it unless I went through it.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
you know, you have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself first and foremost if you want to basically survive that journey.
Hmm.
And that's what I did. And I said, okay, so that goes for everybody.
Well,
From
I
now
think I
on,
think you have a point. Like a lot of us, we try to get people on the outside to understand us. We try to get our doctor to listen. And there's almost like a need, like you have to believe me. Look what's happening
yes,
to me. Look what's
yes,
happening to me.
yes,
But the
yes.
more you send them articles, the more you
Mm-hmm.
give them, they don't want to hear it and they don't
Yeah,
have the conception, which I find it's really hard because even my clients look normal. You guys all look normal and you
yeah,
sound
yeah,
normal.
yeah.
So you can't imagine what's going on in here unless you have been through it. But it does make a person, it made me stoic. It made me act normal as much as possible because I knew nobody's going to get it. And if they knew how I was feeling, they'd put me back in the hospital and I can't afford that. So you do turn inward and you suffer in silence for a very long time.
But I believe in my case, and I can only talk about my experience, Angie, but I went completely inward. And that going inward was what saved me. Uh, because when I had this realization that nobody basically will believe me, because I would not believe myself,
Yeah.
that was the layers of conditioning that basically I was becoming free of what other people thought of me.
Right.
And it wasn't only about this, what was all my life, how I tried to gain approval of others. Because I saw that in my withdrawal, right? When you completely blown to pieces, when
Hmm.
your all defense mechanisms are gone,
Hmm.
and you have to look at your own shadow.
Yeah.
Wow. And a lot of people don't want to do it,
Hmm.
because that is very, very scary, full of pain, because we have those mechanisms for a reason there, okay? They're
Right.
not there because we mean, because we evil. They are there because we had to survive, and we
Right.
did everything to survive.
Well,
And it's everything is on subconscious level, because that we're talking about
well,
little
and I
babies.
think it's sneaky, Eva, because it's like what I find a lot of people say, and not everyone, but they'll say the life that I was leading up until this happened was unsustainable. Like I was living the wrong life. I was living a life that was not me. However, I don't take that as blame because it started 20 years ago, or it
Mm,
started with
yeah.
not listening to that voice 10 years ago. And it's like you go down the wrong path and then somehow you find your way back. And sometimes it comes as a whisper, sometimes it's a knock, sometimes it's an atom bomb. This
Mm-hmm.
experience is an atom bomb.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah.
And
And
then you have to. It puts you
yeah,
right on your butt, you know?
Angie, I think all my life I was in two words, like this word of psychiatry because I'm on the drug and I believe that I had to be on them, but also I'm on this second life, which I am really fulfilled as a woman,
Woman.
as a mother. I have a beautiful life. I'm taking care of my body. I'm exercising. I'm doing all right things.
Me
Like
too.
really, I
Yeah, I
feel
was,
fulfilled.
yeah.
And even though, see, that's the thing, even though I did everything, I did to care of my body and I exercise and I slept well and everything, even though I'm sitting on an atomic bomb that is gonna go off and it's gonna test me.
Volcano. Yes.
And so that's a thing that, you know, it is really important for people to know that informed consent means nobody's going to take your drug away from you. Uh, what is informed consent? Is actual information about the substance you are ingesting every day, which
Hmm.
is the drug will have effect on you, that it will have effect on you. I don't know what's going to be for you, but you might become, basically you're not going to feel your emotions, so you're going to be basically comfortably numb. But there is a price to pay because it might stop working. It might make you sicker that you have ever imagined, even what the suffering. This is like
Hmm.
I said, human suffering, organic suffering, it's unavoidable in this life. Again, exactly, because we will lose loved one, we will have our heart broken, our parents, will treat us one way or the another. That's organic, that's a human life experience. But when you add artificial substance made by not somebody who is altruistic but very profit driven industry, which is big pharma,
Hmm.
when you ingest that for years, the suffering is not organic and it's
Right.
not human. It's not. This is not human experience. This is.
No.
I really believe that people like you went through it, and a lot of people. Laura Delano. I listened to her falling basically because I had insomnia for 3 years.
Hmm.
Angie, you know
Yeah.
how
I
insomnia it
did. I
goes,
did.
hand in hand with
Me
that.
too.
It's just like
Yeah.
and so those souls. I think we came here to tell what it is.
No,
We are
I told a
we
client
are
that
the
the other
rest.
day. I told a
Yeah.
client that the other day. So, I'm actually a pretty spiritual person, but I don't really share it because everybody's spirituality is different. And I don't ever want to any I don't want to even suggest that mine should be for other people. Like it's just very personal to
Yeah,
me. But
yes.
I did say I've always felt this responsibility. Even when I was in the military and I got out, I was one of the first troop in the first tour, and so I was one of the first that was diagnosed with PTSD, and then I was the first one of the the first group to go through treatment, and now I'm one of the first to maybe get off meds and talk about this, like within my generation of people in the military and stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh, but why did I, like, on some level decide I was going to do this? Like, I don't understand it. And I don't think it's not like, I don't know. I'm always on the fence. Like, did I on some level like choose this? Like, what is going on here? Like, is there some bigger spiritual meaning? And maybe there doesn't have to be. It could just be I'm choosing to work on this issue at this time and this space and this reality, and then later I'll go quit and work in a coffee shop. Like I don't know, I don't know, but I
Absolutely.
do feel this like sense
Yeah.
of responsibility to not just walk away. You know what I mean? I feel like I have to help somehow. But anyway,
Yeah. Angie, when I was in the process in the hell, I was trying to reason so many reasons not to kill myself
yes,
because I was suicidal for a very long time, very
yes,
severely,
yes.
I
Hmm.
had a belt around my neck and I was really my main reason was my daughter. And because where I was in my life and what was shown to me, I knew that there was no such a thing as mental illness, there is trauma. That was clear to me. Like in the beginning of this process, I understood, oh, okay, I got it. Okay. You know, I was devastated by it, but I'm like, yes, obviously that's what it is. So in my mom's case, you know, I'm gonna say it here loud and clear because I didn't wrote that in my story because my story is short and my story is for book, not for the short story,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But so my mom ended up in psychiatric system because of trauma, but it was not the trauma what killed her. My mother was killed by treatment. Yes, she took her own life because the amount of drugs she was on towards the 2 years of her life, she was hospitalized more than 8 times, but I only could find the 8 times from this one hospital because the other hospital didn't have the history from back then.
Right.
So she was hospitalized more than 8 times. She was on tricyclic, neuroleptics, and benzos. She had the beginning of akathisia, which of course I didn't know it back then. Looking at my mom, I'm 14, 15 years old and my mom is pacing in place.
Yes.
You know, Angie, only when I was in my hell, I'm like, oh my God.
I know. Same.
Oh
Same.
my God. You
My
know,
dad was
this
also
woman,
medicated. Same. So I saw it. He would tap his leg for, 10 years as a kid, and I never understood that. And I'm
yes,
like, he had tardive dyskinesia. I didn't even
yes,
know.
yes. And you know, so my mother she didn't have a chance. She never had a chance.
Yeah.
But I did had a chance, a little tiny sliver of chance, because when you in it, Angie, you know that there is no thinking like, oh, I see myself, you know, happier than ever before. No, it's
No,
not like
no,
that.
you're just
You know,
suffering.
if someone if you would have this knowledge that in 3 years or in 4.5 or in 5 you're gonna recover completely, you're gonna be happy. This is 100% solid. Your
Yes.
suffering will still be terrible, but it would be so unburdened, like, oh my gosh, I just have to, you know, on another day, because I know there is no knowing. No, there is no knowing.
Yeah.
But what I knew, that there is no mental illness that is like basically genetic and you know, like, you
Chemical
know, I have
imbalance.
to, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, a chemical imbalance. I knew it was trauma. I knew that my mom passed it on me because she didn't heal it. That's the only reason why, because she didn't heal it, right? So it's passed on in different ways. Of course, a lot of it is upbringing, but it also can be passed actually through a body. You know, I was already in my mom's ovaries when she was experiencing her trauma, you know, and our cells are made out of approximately 100 trillions of atoms, and every atom is 99.99999 empty space. What does it mean empty? It's not empty, it's information. So this is like, you know what? I never understood why did I went to nuclear medicine school. And in the process of healing, I understood why. So I can understand that part of myself.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
So I can why what so I can understand, and so I can know how my body works and how my organs, you know, because another thing about psychiatric drugs, they don't go to the brain. No, they go to every single cell in your
Cell in your whole
body,
body. Right. In between the
every
cells. Yeah.
cell.
Yeah.
And when they gone, there is no communication between cells. Forget about organs. Everything is, you have this inside of you.
Yes. Exactly. You're describing it perfectly. Eva, I want you to share what are some of the books that you read that helped you
Oh yeah,
figure
yeah.
out. I want to show
So
you show.
I want to thank you for reminding me this. The Myth of Mental Illness by Thomas Schasch. One.
Oh no, it's blurry because your camera is blurred. Oh,
My camera is
where's
blurry.
your I wish your husband could come fix that.
Is it blurry? Oh,
There it
here.
is. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
The Myth
But
of
I'm
Mental
gonna
Illness
write
by Thomas.
read the
Yeah,
titles and
we'll put them down below in the comments. What else? What else you got?
When the Body Says No by Gabor Mate.
Yes, that's a good
That
one.
book I read in 2017, right before my Armageddon, and there was a reason for everything actually I did, before
Yes.
Of course, Anatomy of Epidemic. I cannot tell you how thankful I am to Robert
This
Whittaker.
book. Yeah.
This book is critical to read
I
when
would
you
say
are
that's the
going
number
through this.
one book almost
Mhm.
every single one of my guests says they read. That's
Yes.
number one.
Suicide Prohibition, and this is by Thomas Sash. And I
Mhm.
was suicidal for so long, and so have you.
Put it in front of
And
your
then,
body. I think it works when you're in front. There you go.
yeah.
Yep. There you go. There you go. Perfect.
I pretty much align with lots of what Thomas Sash
Yeah. Yeah.
said,
For everybody
really.
listening, Thomas Saz was a psychiatrist who questioned, how do I even explain? Can you explain it? Explain his point of view.
So
That there is no
basically, what
mental
he was
illness.
saying in the nutshell, that psychiatry is the form of
Oppression and control.
control. It's a lack of human control. It's the government and military complex is one, right? And this is just another lack of human
Social
control,
control.
social control.
Or
Yeah.
and that maybe mental illness doesn't land on you the way that we think. It's really a social construction, and a human
Yes,
being, humans find it hard to exist in a system that is so oppressive. So then they will show distress. There's like a reason to it.
absolutely.
Right.
But when this is reframed as mental illness, then the systems will not change because there's
Right.
no need to change the system. There is
Right.
nothing
It's
wrong with
you.
the
It's the
system. It's you,
individual that the
right?
problem is. Right.
So that was in the very beginning, Angie, when I realized what actually psychiatry is. So, and that book I read like a year and a half ago when I was already recovered, and I was like, Sash, I was reading it and I was saying, thank you, because it's like somebody spoke about what I already discovered and believed. Jim Gottstein,
Yep.
Psychiatric Papers.
I almost went to visit
Thank
Jim
you.
a couple weeks ago. I know Jim. That's a good book.
Yeah.
I'll have to have
Yeah.
him on one day. Okay, what
Yes,
else? What else?
absolutely. The Body Keeps the Score,
Yep.
Bessel van
Bessel
der
van der
Kolk.
Kolk. Yep.
Yes, I
Yep.
know.
I love him.
Uh, this book, it was very, very
Ooh,
instrumental for me.
that's
It didn't
interesting.
start with you by Mark Volin, and it is about intergenerational trauma.
Oh,
Like he acts because I knew that 44. My mom was 44 when she died, and I was 44 when my process began. I knew there was connection there, and he basically unpacks that, beautifully. How?
nice.
The Myth of Normal, which is a new book by
That's a
Gabor
good one.
Mate.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. This one was also excellent. A Profession Without a Reason.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. It's a crisis of contemporary psychiatry entangled and solved by Spinoza, free thinking and radical enlightenment. So this book is written by a Spinoza through the lens of Spinoza philosophy. And I have listened to Bruce Levine, in my process, and yes. So, and this is a book that I read 3 weeks ago, Angie. It's Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents: How to Heal from Distant Rejecting or Self-Involved Parents. Because I believe that we all had emotionally immature parents. I'll go further. I don't know anybody who hasn't. And we as a humanity are on the journey of evolution. And it's not about iPads, it's different kind of evolution. It's coming from survival to thriving. And lots of humanity, we as a humanity collectively, we are still in survival energies and emotions,
Yeah.
So here is the book.
Nice.
I highly recommend this book, Angie, because once you know what twisted you, or you can untwist yourself,
Right.
So
Well, thank you for
yes.
sharing all those. Thank you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so my last question for you, I'll have one more after at the end, but my last personal question is, the title of this talk is how do we find our way back to ourselves? So tell me about that for you. Have you found your way back, and how?
Yes. And the mire, on my knees, crawling. It's I call it process now. That whole 4.5 years that took for me to say, I am here, I'm connected, I feel it. It took me 4.5 years. That whole process, to me, ultimately, it was a maturation process. And basically I got to know myself. And I believe that, I don't know if you can ascend in consciousness without pain. That's not my experience. I don't believe that the life should be painless. This is not my experience. And this is what I actually don't believe that. So it's not only because it's not my experience. But I want to read you another quote, Angie, from
Okay.
Carl Gustav Jung, that says, it's from the Red Book.
I know that one.
Actually, there
Good.
is no coming to consciousness without pain. I agree with that. Another quote by Rumi: the cure for pain is in the pain.
Ooh,
Rumi.
that
And
is
Rumi
wow.
has beautiful quotes about love, but also
Yes.
about pain. Because when you feel what really hurts you, when you go that deep to entangle yourself to that point, that's healing, because you will stop projecting.
Yes. Yes. And I think more than anything, this process, I was talking to someone yesterday from, what country was she from? Norway. And we were talking about healing. And I said, listen, there's no book out there. There's no expert. This is a self-study of you and
You.
what makes you tick and what causes you distress and what you're going to do to
Mm-hmm.
help that. You can read stuff and bounce it off yourself, but ultimately this is a self-study in you. Like you have to
Absolutely.
go so inside of yourself and
Yes.
look, stop outsourcing your care to everyone
Mm-hmm.
else.
Mm-hmm.
Stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think out of everything, that's the biggest lesson this has taught me. Like
Yeah.
there is nobody out there. It's you.
Angie, I agree with you 100%. That's my experience. That's my understanding. I'm almost finished with reading Red Book by Gustav Carl Jung. The
Wow.
book is amazing. I'm gonna say it, so far in my life, and I'm 50. Uh, this is the book number one for me.
Wow.
That's how packed with information it is,
Wow.
within deep knowledge of human psyche.
Mhm.
But the way he does it, it's brilliant. Like I read this book, I'm reading this book, and I feel his presence next to me.
Wow, beautiful.
That's how deep I understand what he was trying to convey. And many, many times in this book, Angie, he says, there is only one way,
True.
and it's you. And
Yeah.
it's you. Nobody, I have no idea what's that way for you, but it's in you.
Yes.
And you have everything in you already.
It's in
Just
there.
it's in
It's in
there.
there.
It's in there. So many times in different words, but that's what he says.
That's beautiful.
Mm. And there's another one because Angie, I listen to people and they saying they empath. I'm so empathic. I cannot, stand like because I feel too much. And I know on that this is coming from somebody who does not know the boundaries. It's we all are. Empathy is a beautiful thing, but if you don't have your boundaries set, that is gonna be painful,
Mm.
because you're gonna think the world is gonna be basically everything is permitting, and other people's feelings are
A
permitting you,
great
and you're
question. Oh,
thinking
that's great.
it's
I'm feeling that right now, actually. I'm feeling that
yeah.
right now.
So this is the quote from the Red Book by him about this. Understand yourself. Understand yourself. This is the best protection against hypersensitivity that will satisfy your childish desire to be understood. Because, we need for children to be healthy, they need to be understood. So we can basically protect them, but also so they can feel that they seen, you know, on deep
Yeah.
emotional level. But as an adult, it is actually childish for another human being to want to have exactly the same experience as you did, like in your head, you know? Like that was another part, Angie, in me that I was like, when I was in hell, I was like, I have no idea what another human being has inside. I have
Yeah.
no idea.
No idea.
What is the journey, what they have, you know, why they acting the way, what twisted them. I call twistedness, you know, the trauma, how
Yeah.
it twists
Yeah.
us, you know,
Twist
like
you up.
this. And basically you have to, you're like, you can entangle yourself. And actually, you know what, it's even your DNA. When you traumatize, your DNA is tightened, and it's called
Yes.
spooling. And
Yeah.
that's another real, it's a fact. And
Mhm.
the more relax and heal you are, you also DNA, it's expressing itself differently. So
Mhm.
I heard a quote, I think it was from either Bruce Lipton or Greg Braden, that said that actually our consciousness is expressed in our genes, and I do believe that.
Yeah.
I
It's
do.
epigenetics. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
tell me, how do you feel now, and how do you feel like yourself again? Or who is Eva now after all you've been through?
so I I my heart expanded, you know, my heart is wide open, and I'm not afraid of it. You
Beautiful.
know,
Beautiful.
I'm not afraid of it. Angie, I change on every level. I don't take myself seriously. Therefore, I don't take anybody else that seriously, you know? You know,
Mhm.
it's like even when in the process I understood that this whole psychiatry and how we end up in that wheel of devil's wheel, I call it, you know, it's tragic, but it's funny because we never were sick. We are fed the drug that is gonna make us ultimately very sick, and then it's gonna be said, oh, see, your mental illness is getting worse, where actually it's a drug. It's a
Yeah.
divine tragedy. It's a tragic comedy, really.
Yeah.
I couldn't laugh at it when I was in it, and I'm still not laughing in that sense. But see how
Right.
evil has its
Twisted.
way.
It's twisted. Like you
It's
said, it's twisted.
twisted. Yes, it's
Yeah.
absolutely twisted. So, you know, I I am ex I am not gonna dismiss anything of bad. That's another thing that I learned in hell. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
tell me, I'll listen. I might change my mind about it. If you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm so much more flexible, Angie, you know,
Mhm.
about everything. So like I'm telling you, like, you know, okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
Do you do you
I
find you
don't have to, another thing, I don't have to be right because I
who
don't
cares?
care.
It's not that important.
Yeah,
It's
like
not
you
important.
know how freeing that
Right.
is, you know, like
Yeah.
because of course not everybody were like, and I'm talking about my very close family members, you know, were okay with me posting such a uh, ugly part of the family trauma, you know,
Right.
which is incest. But the thing is, I
Mm.
completely understand why, but also this is my journey,
Mhm.
and
Your
this is
story.
my life experience, and I'm gonna go as far as it with my life experience as it will take me. So
Mm.
how far? I don't know,
Mhm.
you know. But I understand that everybody, I don't get offended. You know, like I don't get offended. You know why? Because whatever this person or that person or my friend or not friend or family or not family, they are entitled of their opinions. Of course, they can say
Mhm.
whatever they want, and it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay
Yeah.
because my well-being doesn't sit on opinion of others.
Others. Yeah, there's this book that I really enjoy. It's very vulgar and not good grammar, but because the person that wrote it, just that's his style. But the title of the book is You Can't Hurt Me.
Huh?
And I
No,
feel
when
that
you
kind of like what
truly,
you're saying. When you've been through what we've
yeah,
been through,
and
there's
you
not
know,
much you can
and I'm not saying that Angie from the place where it's like, oh no, it's like they can say whatever they want, like with angry. No, actually, it's
Right,
their right because their life experience is different.
right. Everybody's
They
different.
didn't come to this world to cater to your needs or
Right.
to understand you. No,
Right.
no.
Yeah. They
They
have
have
their own
completely
understanding.
different
Yeah.
journey,
But
you
I,
know?
even in what you're saying, that is true freedom to not
It
take yourself too
is.
seriously, to be free from psychiatric drugs, to get your life back, to get yourself back. What more? That's freedom. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the only way I believe to that freedom and peace is
Yeah.
to know yourself.
Hmm.
Go on that journey to know yourself.
I agree. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. All right. This is my last question for all my guests. What hope can you leave with people watching?
Oh my gosh. You are not broken. You never were broken. No matter where you are, even if you are on your knees and shower and stinky, because I was that person. And you feel you destroy completely. There is a way, and you're not. But it feels like it. Because you are that part of you that personality is a construct. And that construct is pretty much probably gone when you are where I was. That personality contract, I didn't have personality. I had severe depersonalization, which you know what that is. And it really is when you construct of yourself, no more, and you have nothing to stand on. And you think it's time to go, right? I'm dead already, but this is just a very painful labor of your new self that you have no idea what is that gonna be because you never been there. How can you know some concept of you or of anything that you have never even touched that? You can't. So therefore, please don't give up. Crawl if you have to. Go inward and find your way. You have all the answers.
You make me cry. I cried a lot this week.
Hey,
Ugh.
it's
It's
okay. It's a
beautiful. It's true. It's
person.
everything you
It's
said is absolutely true.
beautiful.
Like when you're in it, you cannot see your way out. You cannot feel a way. I literally came to the conclusion, either I'm gonna die from this or I'm gonna heal and I don't even know what's gonna happen.
Angie, that was me.
Complete surrender.
That was me. I was like, I either perish or I thrive. And by perish, I mean I promised myself every waking moment, and I had a lot because I didn't sleep for 3 years,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm not gonna kill myself.
Yes.
But I was thinking that my body will give out because I couldn't
Yeah,
eat. I
me
had to
too.
force myself to eat.
Yeah.
I had a severe GI, issues. So I was like, either my body will give out, so I perish, and I'm okay with that. Please take me,
Yeah.
universe, take me, please. But I'm not gonna just come out of that and have like a half last life. No, I'm gonna thrive.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I live in a van and I travel and I'm parked in the
Yes,
middle of nowhere. And
yes,
I might
Angie.
take my shirt off and run through the desert today. We'll see what happens.
Great, great. I love your journey. I so much enjoy listening to you when you
Thank
posted
you.
on YouTube, Angie, about going to the nudist beach, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Yes.
See, you do you, and I completely understand that. Like for me, it's like you're saying that, and I'm like, yes, of course, yeah,
Yes. Be a
yeah,
human being. You didn't get to be one forever.
yes,
Yep. And
yes,
now you're a human being again. You're coming back to yourself.
yes, yeah,
Oh, well,
yeah.
thank you so much. Do you have any closing thoughts before we hang up? I mean, you said amazing things.
Uh,
Amazing.
I don't know, but
Anything else?
probably I had another. Let me see if I have a. No, I think I said it.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. One more quote from Jane Austen. I think
Okay.
it's American poet, right?
Yes. Yes. You're right.
And because when the pain is gone, Angie, like a year ago, I wrote my success story. And for
Hmm.
this past year, I had such a beautiful openings of like, all concept coming down, and I had to sit
Hmm.
actually down and write them down,
Hmm.
like it was process of coming back to life, which I in the beginning of that, after I wrote my success story, I started exercising, basically because I had to gain my strength. I was very
Yes.
strong, emotionally, but my body was wrecked.
Right.
So a year later, I'm strong. I'm doing yoga, hot
Yep.
yoga, ashtanga, and vinyasa. And shout out
Awesome.
to my, teacher Victoria, which is
Awesome.
wonderful. And so, but also when I go back to this place, like in my thoughts, right?
Mhm.
Like I almost feel happiness, and people don't understand. Or when I'm sometimes telling the story and I'm smiling or I'm laughing, and it's something very painful I'm talking about, and people kind of don't understand why. And this is a perfect quote for people to understand why. When pain is over, the remembrance of it often becomes a pleasure.
Interesting. Wow.
Jane Austen.
Wow. Wait, now I gotta find the one. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Hold on, because there's one too that I think would fit right here. Wait, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Hold on. I found it. Okay, ready? This is from, oh, I have a book right here. This is from this book, Brave Enough by Cheryl Strayed. Hold on, let me see if this is on this. No, it's not on the right page, but
Okay.
this is what the quote says. You let time pass. That's the cure. You survive the days. You float like a rabid ghost through the weeks. You cry and wallow and lament and scratch your way back up through the months. And then one day, you find yourself alone on a bench in the sun, and you close your eyes and you lead your head back and you realize you're okay.
Beautiful.
Oh, well, it was fun sharing
Beautiful.
quotes and books with you.
Yeah.
I love them. I have too many books in here that I can't even read right now, but you're inspiring me to get back in there. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you
story.
so much, Angie. It was a pleasure talking to
You
you, and I,
too.
I felt it that it's gonna be. I was very excited for it. Like,
And
yeah.
will you do me a favor? Can you send me your success story if it's written somewhere and I'll put it in the
Yes,
comments?
yes, yes.
Awesome.
I will do that. I will. You want me to email this to you or
Yeah, or
send it
send it
in
in
the
Facebook,
messenger?
either
Yeah.
one. Or you can
Uh,
post it yourself on Facebook if you want to go
Yeah,
back
so
and read.
I just want to, yeah, so I just want to say it again. You already know that I'm gonna translate that our
Polish.
conversation to Polish language, and I'm gonna open my channel on YouTube and maybe on Spotify too. And
Great.
because I would like to conduct interviews with people like you
You
do it,
should. You should. I love it.
Yes,
I love that. I
you know.
support that.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome. All right, so everybody watching, thank you so much for watching. If you have any suggestions for interviews coming up, please put them in the comments. But I have some pretty good ideas coming up. And actually, I have to jump off here to call someone about the next one. I think she's going to be a good one, so I'm going to call her now. But have a wonderful afternoon. Please keep your hope alive. Rewatch the last couple minutes of this if you need hope again, because it's just so beautiful what she said and so true. All right.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Angie.
Eva. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Bye, everyone. Have a
Thank
have
you.
a good day.